Hey, what's up, you guys? It's Max here, and in this video, I'm going to show you how we can use the insert statement in MySQL. In one of my previous videos, I showed how you can use the create statement to first create a database slash schema, and then create tables along with their columns and constraints to be part of that database. So in this one, I'm going to be showing how we can add rows to our existing tables, and let's just get right into it. So I'm going to go right into my SQL Workbench down here. And this is just a database diagram of where we left off last time. We created three tables, an employee table, an order table, and a customer table. And the order table links the two together. So if like a customer places an order with an employee on site, then it would reference those two tables. So if we think of this just high level, imagine like you had a small shop and you had these on-site employees. And whenever there's a new customer that walks in your door, let's say these employees had access to a mobile app, right? And they would fill out all the details about the customer that just walked in the door in a form in your mobile app. Upon hitting submit, it would then make a post request to your API backend, which would then run some SQL, which would actually be an insert statement with all that customer data that went along with that post request. It's like the body of that post request. And it would then update your database to have a new row, which is that new customer. And pretty much we're going to go into the nuts and bolts of how exactly that transaction would happen. And if you were like coding in like a backend programming language like Python, you could even use like a library to abstract most of the raw SQL away. You could use object-oriented programming with a imported library. But I'm going to show you what happens exactly under the hood. So let's get right into it. Here, I'm going to be using the database slash schema, and then I can start doing actions on the database. So I'm just going to select star from each table just to show you what's inside. And there should be nothing because you haven't inserted anything into it. So I'm just going to run this now. And as you can see, that's good. There's literally nothing in here. All three queries, there's null. There's nothing. There are no rows. So now I'm going to show you the syntax for the insert statement. So I am going to uncomment this. And the syntax for the insert statement, by the way, the insert statement is basically one of three SQL modification statements. There is insert, where you would add a new row, update, where you would modify an existing row, and delete, where you just delete an existing row from a table. And this is a lot more uncommon than your classic query because you'd always be querying from your database because you want to gain insights on your data that's in your database. This is kind of more less common. Now, for the insert statement syntax, you use insert into, and you specify the table name, followed by, in parentheses, all of the column names, followed by values, open parentheses, all of the values that correspond to these columns, and then you can end the statement with a semicolon. So the thing is with this, why the last video was important when we created these tables is you would like to know the constraints of each column. So for example, this customer table, if we go to customer number, you could see that customer number should be an 8-character string, and it's going to be our primary key. Same thing with if we go to employee, it's going to have a employee number, primary key. It should be 8 characters, no more, no less. But like if you have like a customer first name, that can be a variable character, and same thing with customer last name. It just has to comply to the column that the rules that the column has, pretty much. And same thing like customer balance, it's going to be a decimal. Now, a little asterisk here. The order table, since it's like an auxiliary table, it will have foreign keys, which references another row. So if you try to put like anything in here, it's not going to work. It has to reference a real row that exists. That's why we're inserting into this customer and employee first. And now since those rows exist, we can now reference those rows that have been inserted. So what do I mean by that? Well, if we go back to when we created this table, you can see that there should always be a customer number in the order table. Let's say like the customer places an order online and they don't actually talk to an employee. This could be null, but there'll always be a customer associated with an order. So that kind of is what I mean by that. Like if you didn't specify this here, or you specified like something that doesn't exist already, you get like a foreign key error when you try to insert a new row into this table. But that's pretty much it. So we're going to execute this now and see if it works, which I hope it does. It does. I've tried this before. Let's be honest. So I have 3 green check marks, which means I've inserted new data. I'm just going to requery the database just to show you that the data is now in these tables. I have 3 queries here, so we could see each table now has 1 row of data in it, exactly what we inserted. We have the employee, we got Joe Jenkins up in here. We also have the customer, we have Sherry Gordon, and we have Sherry Gordon's order that was placed with Joe Jenkins at our make-believe shop. So that's pretty much it for the insert statement. I hope you found this YouTube video useful. I'm very active on Twitter and GitHub, so feel free to give me a follow there. And I'd really appreciate it if you give this video a like and perhaps consider subscribing. All right, I hope to see you in the next video. All right, peace.